Randy giving bad troubleshooting advice and insulting fans while telling them to refund, mocking their PC specs, dodging blame for his game's horrible optimization on both console and Steam, crashing out and throwing a fit are absolutely all things on my bingo list. Come on, did anyone expect anything different here? The cherry on top, of course, is a 40-point difference on Metacritic between gamers and the paid media shills who made sure, just like with Cyberpunk, to avoid any discussion on the performance and bugs. This game slows to a crawl, like Skyrim backwards Dragon, but in fairness, if gamers intend to buy games they know are going to be this buggy and with performance issues this severe, developers won't bother making functional games. When people are giving it a 10 and saying they shouldn't expect new games to run well, and media is saying performance shouldn't be a part of a review, because the studio will, maybe, possibly, eventually fix some of the problems, perhaps. Like they're reviewing the future version of a game that doesn't exist. Is it any wonder games don't bother coming out complete? It's much faster to release a half-completed, broken mess and then decide at launch to start making the other half, or if it ends up like, say, Avengers or Redfall, string along gamers with the promise of future updates roadmap to squeeze out some more sales while knowing all along it was always bound to be sunset. Always interesting when reviews are purely performance and computer specs. Look, it makes some sense to trash a game with poor performance. It legit makes the game suck for your playthrough after all. But a full positive review from totes legit players? What exactly is your review about? The game functions, 10 out of 10. Isn't that a bare minimum? Consider this. You'd feel justified leaving a review if you went to Burgerland, ordered burger, and they served you tomato soup. That's somewhat notable. But who leaves a coffee shop a positive review like, I ordered a hot coffee and they brought me a coffee. It was hot. These aren't real reviews. They're just there to counter other people's reviews. Borderlands 4 is what is wrong with the games industry. But not for the reasons just mentioned. You're welcome for misleading you. While those are frequent problems in AAA, you can still have a healthy games industry even when AAA is being naughty twats. 1,000 Ubisofts is just fine if you have a dozen From Softwares. The problem is not legendarily awful games industry PR, it's not buggy and broken releases, it's not the lack of innovation or the lackluster story or bot media pulling another Cyberpunk in with a score completely in a different zip code from gamers, while of course hiding and avoiding any mention of the bugs and performance issues. Even the tech analysts people say in half an hour on consoles the gameplay degrades to the level expected of a PS2 and only gets worse, mulching to a standstill, just like Cyberpunk. It's not hard to find videos of exactly this. The real problem here is, who is capitalizing on this trash? It's time to just give up on AAA, they won't change. So indies and AA with a bit of a budget and experience, this is your competition. This is why it is not enough that AAA games which take advantage of customers and deliver garbage must fail. There needs to be a replacement because, well, what else is there for multiplayer looter shooters? It's easy to get a doofus king if he's the only one with claim to the throne. No AAA studio, no matter how atrocious, is ever gonna collapse if there's no alternatives. We know this from the constant complaints around sports titles with in-game ads, gacha microtransactions, and copy-paste from last year gameplay and visuals, only to end up being the biggest moneymakers year on year. You're not going to be dethroning Borderlands on your first game, nor is your goal specifically to be the Borderlands killer. Ask all the WoW killers how that goes. But consider this. Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, they were well-received, solid games, with a lot of passion and a lot of skill behind them. However, they didn't penetrate the mainstream, at least not until number 3. With the assist of being called Baldur's Gate 3, of course, it ends up being the best CRPG since Neverwinter Nights. And the goal again was not to dethrone anything, it was just to make the best game possible in a woefully untouched genre. If you have the talent and drive to make a Border-like, you will have no competition. This is a wide open genre. If you're looking for somewhere to leave a mark, this is it. So why is it we see a Last of Us come out, then get a million cinematic games, many over-budget flops, we see Fortnite, and get spammed with Battle Royale, mostly over-budget flops. 2 generations ago we got the same thing with Zombie Everything, but Borderlands looter shooters, massively profitable every time, even the Borderlands 3 mess, and nobody else wants to cash in? We have the Souls-like, roguelike, Metroidvania copycats, and this is an easy-to-sell concept, yet people don't want to touch this genre. Did we really go from Hellgate London to Borderlands and nobody else was thinking, hey, everyone's trying to copy the popular Diablo formula? We got Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, Torchlight, War 40k Martyr, Warhammer Chaosbane, Last Epoch, Lost Ark, Titan Quest, but no, we don't want Diablo with guns. Nah, nobody wants that gold mine there. This is a point of frustration, a fantastic game idea being solely done by a corporate trash fire that cares nothing for quality, hates their fanbase, and looter shooter isn't the only genre like this. Likely all of us have some genre we're very fond of with big potential, and yet it's a ghost town for development. AA Studios, some advice. Bring something new, which benefits from your passion and skill in a genre with more demand than supply. Vampire Survivors, Balatro were new, fresh takes on roguelikes. Baldur's Gate 3, Expedition 33, and Stellar Blade brought back CRPGs abandoned by BioWare, turn-based JRPGs abandoned by Squaresoft, and action-adventure which 3 generations ago you couldn't spit without hitting a Devil May Cry, God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, Okami, Jack, Ratchet, God Hand, Ninja Gaiden. The demand was high for these games. It was the supply that dried out. When we get a dozen high-quality looter shooters and not the grind-style MMO light shooters, like Destiny and Division, but a Diablo-style shooter, Borderlands is mediocre. And when it gets that competition, it either gets replaced or Gearbox finally tries to improve their formula. Don't really care which one, both work out for gamers. However, no matter the terrible story and dialogue, the bugs, the performance issues, the incomplete game on launch, the microtransactions, this is a fact. If Borderlands 5 came out next year and it got completely panned, was a buggy nightmare, made Borderlands 3 look like the Sistine Chapel, it still sells 10 million copies when it has zero competition. AAA had a slide into mediocrity and customer-unfriendly business practices over the last 2 decades that kept getting worse and worse, specifically for one reason: no alternatives. Indies, AA, the games industry is yours for the taking. Do not pass up what AAA has handed you on a silver platter. So here's hoping for the Clair Obscur, Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, or Silksong of looter shooters so games media can write about why it is bad for gamers to expect better from AAA games that have 10 times the budget and 10 times the employees. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, and Rancid Pitchfork, good job winning first place in a race where you're the only runner. I apologize for absolutely nothing.